The current philosophy and mantra in the modern day video gaming industry is based on the biggest lie in the video gaming industry, and that lie being that there were no strong female representation in past video gaming history before 2016, before the political activists took control and gained influence in the gaming industry and the games development sphere. And I like to call these people the fake fair weather fans of the gaming world nowadays. And it's these fake fair weather fans in the gaming industry that are ruining it. They're the ones saying there is no balance in the gaming industry. I think this is the thing that we've been hearing incessantly in the video gaming industry when it comes to classic games that have come out in the past, that there was no representation for women to look up to, and that's why we need to readdress this issue by inserting a massive amount of strong female characters, because there were none before 2016. And this is the thing we've been hearing from gaming journalists all throughout the industry, and this is what we've been hearing from progressive activists that have invaded the video gaming industry. And if you just look into the past, it becomes obvious that this is not the case, this is not true, and more than anything, I felt like there was stronger representation in the past. Regardless of the truth, we're getting inundated with strong female characters in 2025 and for the foreseeable future, and I think this is the thing that gamers are finding annoying when it comes to the people that are newcomers to the video gaming industry, where they think there's a hole in the industry that they need to fill out with their own political perspective, when in actuality, it doesn't need to be filled. It was already serviceable and more than anything better than what we have right now. And I think that is what the gamers are realizing as we get this strong push for strong female protagonists, and the outcome is we're selling less video games in the industry because the people that are making these strong female protagonists absolutely don't have the skills to produce content that is viable to a mass audience. And that's how we end up with this large discrepancy within 10 years, where 2015 we had so much male lead characters, and now in 2025 we almost have no male lead characters. And I think this will be fine if the characterization of a lot of these female characters were done appropriately by some great programmers, coders, and storytellers, but that is not the case. What we get in the end result is something that is much in line with what we see with Kill the Justice League and a multitude of other games that come out, where the storylines are uninteresting and are there for the sake of political progressive politicking. And I think that is the thing that's pushing away the gamers, where this lie is so pervasive that it's filled the industry with strong girl boss characters that no one even wants to see a strong girl boss character, when that was so prevalent in the past in the video gaming industry. You can just look back to games like Tomb Raider that came out during a time where we did get consistent amount of strong female representation that were done in such a way where it was appealing to a mass audience because they made them likable characters. And I think that is the thing absent in modern day gaming, where you don't get games like Fear Effect with protagonists that are endearing and charming to the game players. And that is a fact that is lost on the modern day people making and producing games, where you don't get a Jill Valentine that seems vulnerable but strong at the same time in a horrific zombie apocalypse. You don't get these type of characters because the people that are producing the content don't know how to make these type of characters. You don't get characters like Chloe anymore that have this sensitivity and mother-like figure about them, but are still strong and representative of a mass audience of people that would be interested in this person in real life if they existed. You don't get that type of character anymore. Nowadays, you get this wall of ugliness in personality and character design, and I think that's the thing that we see so much in the industry, where it's mostly based on this brutalist architecture style and making something strikingly unappealing because we feel offended by the past. And I think that's what we're seeing with a lot of the games that have come out recently that had these character models and designs, where they're made to be the antithesis of what we got in the past, where it was charming, likable female characters that look presentable and appealing and attractive, and we get the opposite. We get annoying, arrogant, unlikable, no charm, crass, and unattractive and unappealing characters in all of their designs to be the female main character for any title. And I think this wall of characters is the best representation of that, because none of these characters are likable. None of these characters are people you want to look at for 8 to 10 hours, to 10 to 20 to 40 hours and play as them, or even see them as side characters. I think that's ultimately the failure that we're seeing now within the gaming industry, where this big lie of no female representation has turned into an oversaturation problem with a low quality output. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of titles that are being released and slamming into a wall because the gamers are rejecting them. And this is the end result that is ultimately coming to pass, where gamers are just simply not playing these games anymore. They're skipping out on playing these games, and they're searching for older games and playing those more on a consistent basis than the new games that are coming out. And you can see this with the games that people have consumed in the past, where we were happy with the Resident Evil, the Final Fantasies, the Tomb Raiders, the Zeldas. All these characters were beautifully designed female characters that had a strong representation, that contained an ounce of femininity that seems to be absent now in the video gaming industry, and it actually better represented women than the women that are being represented nowadays. And I think this comparison of what we're getting from the past and what we got now in the present time is consistent with what the values were back then and the values are now, because the people that were making games back then where people were focused on making something that they loved. And I think that's the opposite now. We have people that are trying to teach, that are trying to chastise, and trying to manipulate the gamer base. And I think that is reflective of the games that are coming out nowadays, where we have this comparison of the games from the past. We're looking at Fable, we're looking at Naughty Dog's Intergalactic, we're looking at Witcher 4. You can compare it to old character designs and models and personality traits, and it's just a stark difference from what we got in the past, where we had these strong female representative icons that were still feminine in their own way and still looked appealing enough where you would like to actually play as that character. They weren't annoying in their personalities, but that's the opposite of what we're getting nowadays with the new modern day female representation from these people that are simply there to influence the gaming industry. And I'm talking about the Anita Scarsegians out there, the Sweet Baby Inks, the people that were frustrated that the gaming industry wasn't influenced by their political ideology, and thus so they entered the gaming industry, forcing their political ideology onto the gamer and player base and developers themselves, and making developers put out content that was absolutely abhorrent to the game player base. And I think that's what we saw with The Last of Us. That's what we saw a little bit with Uncharted 4, and that's what we're seeing consistently all throughout the gaming industry with a multitude of titles, from Spider-Man, from God of War, from all the titles that have come out from these large institutions that are now influenced by this ideology that stakes its own claim of politicizing everything that is involved in entertainment, because they want to indoctrinate the audience rather than entertain that audience. And I think that is why this lie is continuously pushed. That's why these ideologies are pervasive in the industry, because they are there to influence the gamers that are playing games. And it sucks. I love The Last of Us. I thought it was a great game when it came out, but The Last of Us 2 ruined that entire franchise. You can just look at Kill the Justice League. What they did to characters like Batman and all the other superheroes was something that gamers would not stand for, especially playing the Arkham series. And they did such a bad job that they had to bring back the Batman that they killed in the beginning of the series. And I think that just shows that gamers are fed up and upset with this changing ideology, where you're trying to abuse the past, you're trying to obfuscate the future, and you're trying to make a gaming community that is fitting to your ideology, rather than make a gaming community that is fitting for a fun and entertaining pastime. And that is just simply not what we're getting anymore. The whole world is focused on pushing their ideology onto the gamer and player base, and unfortunately, we're just not getting those quality games that we once loved, that used to be the focus of gaming. And I think, unfortunately, that's a sad situation in the industry, and it's the biggest lie that I keep seeing social media posts about, where there wasn't any strong representation of female characters. But from what I can remember, there was always strong representation of female characters. And it just shows the people that are pushing out this ideology are people that have never played video games. And it just makes it sad that these influences have taken over the industry, and they're spreading chaos with their determined lies and shaping the video gaming landscape into the wrong direction, where we're getting over 10 to 20 AAA video games focused on strong female characters that all have the same personality, because the people that are creating these games don't know how to make anything different. But that's just my 2 cents on the situation. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this situation. What do you think about the biggest lie in video gaming, that there are no strong female characters? That's obviously not true, especially when you have Metroid Prime with Samus. But of course, these people don't care. They're just there to push their agenda, and I think that agenda is being pushed well into 2025. But you leave a comment, tell what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe. This is Wagner Knows Why. Catch you next time.